Hello everyone, it's Sandra here, and this is a compilation video showing me emptying about 7 large containers of worms and some bedding material into Gilligan, my large converted sandbox outdoor worm bin. These worms mostly came from Peekaboo and Eat My Shorts, who were storing Gilligan's worms after Gilligan's latest harvest. They also came from Gilligan's castings themselves. So watch this next section, just over 10 seconds, as I speed it up for your enjoyment. I emptied the contents of both bait cups and migration zones in my worm bins into these takeout containers to bring them out to Gilligan easily. Always check the container for any worms that may still be clinging to the sides. The wisps are almost impossible to see, even against the white of that container, and sometimes there's an odd cocoon stuck to the wall. I'll put links in the description to my earlier video on how I set up a typical bait cup, and also one of my migration attempts out of Eat My Shorts and Peekaboo. Those 2 worm bins had such delicious bedding, the worms were reluctant to vacate the bedding. However, as you can see, I eventually got thousands of them moved to Gilligan. I'll also put a link to my earlier video where I showed the removal of a lot of the undigested or uncomposted, I guessed, egg cartons that I gave Gilligan through the winter, and all the worms that were hiding in those egg cartons. All of those were moved to Gilligan when I refilled him after his winter harvest, as well as some worms that I had pulled or baited out of Gilligan and added to a bedding bin that I was aging in preparation for refilling this very giant turtle. So Gilligan already had thousands of worms in him from that old egg carton bedding, plus that pulling of worms and cocoons. So these worms are just going to add to his population for the summer. I have 2 choices of what to do with those takeout containers when I've emptied out their contents. I can invert them like I do here, that will create a little moisture dome for any remaining worms to climb down. Or I could rinse them off and empty them into a plant container or into my garden. Either way, I don't let any worm go unsaved. This container is the result of me picking out a few large bits that were caught up in Gilligan's castings harvest. There's cocoons in here, as well as a few adult worms that I just wanted to remove from the castings so the castings can finish up processing and these cocoons can mature into Gilligan where they belong. This final container is from Eat My Shorts and Peekaboo. Look at those cocoons. I'll be putting out a video shortly talking about Eat My Shorts and Peekaboo. Watch for that. Big changes ahead for these 2 indoor worm bins. Gilligan is the happy recipient of all of these beautiful worms. Thank you so much for following along this Turtle Sandbox's worm bin journey. He's now in his summer shady location, and all of these worms are getting down to work. Gilligan has his own playlist that you can watch him from the very beginning. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye from Sandra, and goodbye from Gilligan.